What is up there, guys? This is Cobb, and with BlizzCon and WoW Classic creeping up on us ever so slowly, the time is now. This video is going to cover 5 things that you must know before you decide to go ahead and pick up Warlock in Vanilla WoW. Now, these aren't going to be a bunch of mind-blowing facts. They're going to be a mix of things that will make me a little bit nostalgic. Things that, if you're not quite familiar with Warlock in Vanilla, then you should really prepare your anus for. Those kinds of things. So, thing number 1. Warlock class quests. Now, class quests obviously are not unique to Warlock back in Vanilla. However, they do have some of the most class-defining, is that a thing? Warlocks need to quest for their demons, for their guardian summons like Infernals, for their mounts, and of course for those awesome little bits of blue gear that you want to be picking up along the way. So before covering some of the things that you're going to be doing in these Warlock class quests, it is worth bearing in mind that gold wasn't exactly growing on trees in Vanilla, let's just put it that way. And of course you only unlock your mount, your basic riding skill, at level 40. So to break things down just a little bit, the Imp quest, the Voidwalker quest, it eases you in gently, then BAM! The Succubus quest comes out of nowhere, and suddenly you've got to travel all the way down to Greymane's Wall, down at the bottom of Silverpine Forest, which is going to be on screen right now, the new edition, as well as the old Vanilla edition. And then you have to go all the way to Wetlands, again, to kill a couple of humanoid NPCs, one at the bottom of Silverpine at Greymane's Wall, and one in Wetlands. And yes, you're doing all of this on foot. The Succubus quest is unlocked at level 20, I believe. And that means that you've got to run through Arathi Highlands, which is a zone that, every single mob in that goddamn zone is going to be a skull to you, because, they're going to be like 12 to 15 levels higher. So that's where it really begins. And the Fell Hunter quest, it doesn't really get much easier. Again, I think this quest is at level 30, I believe, and I've actually had to make a little list on my other screen just to remember what the hell goes down in this. So you have to travel to Ratchet, first and foremost, pick up a quest there. You will be sent to Hillsbrad to collect a tome from some Murloc camp. Then you've got to retrieve a tattered manuscript from a chest in, get this, 1,000 needles. So you've got to travel across the entire planet, basically, to get yourself a tattered manuscript. Go back to Ratchet, you turn those in, then you're sent to the Wetlands again to collect some channeling rods from a bunch of orcs. I mean, in travel time alone, you're looking at hours here for this goddamn quest. And then of course if you pull like 3 mobs, you're just dead. But I guess that was the same for pretty much every class back in Vanilla. So hey, to be honest, the quests only get more difficult from there. In order to unlock the Soul Harvester weapon, or a choice of a couple of other blue items, which I can't quite remember, you are required at level 50 to go to Sunken Temple and finish off the, I believe it's 6 troll mini-bosses. Turn this quest into an imp in Fellwood who is with his gnome master. Pretty interesting little question. You actually get a similar quest from these 2 NPCs as well in Fellwood in order to unlock the Infernal, which requires you to loot some kind of infernal stone from some giant goddamn, well, yeah, crazy Infernal. There's actually an updated version of this Infernal in the game as it is today, but things are a little bit different for this question back in Vanilla. And this is all without even mentioning the infamous Dreadsteed question, which I never did back in Vanilla, of course. But essentially you're required to get yourself a ton of expensive ass mats for kind of one half of the quest, and then there is also an adventure side of the quest as well, which requires you to go to Scholomance, I believe, which is just fucking great. Honestly, I am as terrified as I am excited about having to take on these Warlock quests again. And they're definitely something to be aware of, an obstacle that you're going to have to tackle as you level if you're planning on maining Warlock in WoW Classic. The next major thing that you should be aware of if you are rolling Warlock way back in Classic WoW is that you don't really have any defensives back in Classic WoW. In the World of Warcraft of today, Blizzard have been really pushing the tanky caster class fantasy and all of that bullshit on Warlocks, right? So you got a bunch of defensives. You got the Hellstones, you got the Sacrificial Pacts, we've got shield walls, we have, instant stuns falling out of our ass. Well, not really, but the Infernal Stun. Back in Vanilla WoW, well, you got a Healthstone. I mean, it's something. So this obviously isn't like a huge revelation to most people, I understand that, but if you're used to playing Warlock within, any time from Warlords of Draenor up until present day, and that's all you know of Warlocks, then you may want to rethink your life decisions before picking up Warlock in WoW Classic, because things are a little bit different. You're kind of made of paper and poo, is what I'm trying to say, okay? An extra defensive cooldown that you do have in Vanilla that we don't have in the game right now is the Spellstone. And this brings us on to our next little tidbit. Item number 3 on the things that you must know before taking on Vanilla Warlock are Firestones and Spellstones. How do they work? What do they do? And yeah. This is a little bit of a nostalgia trip as well for me. So Firestones and Spellstones. Let's start with Firestones, actually. The Firestone is a conjurable offhand weapon. You actually equip it as an offhand weapon after conjuring it, which is just fucking crazy to me. Equipping the Firestone will give your attacks a small chance of dealing an extra small amount of fire damage upon hit, and it will also increase the amount of damage that your fire spells and attacks do on hit as well. But the more interesting of the two is definitely the Spellstone. Now, Spellstones also do have an on-equip kind of passive buff effect, which just increases your spell crit by 1%. However, the Spellstone also has an on-use effect that allows you to consume the Spellstone. So you just lose your offhand weapon when you do this, right? Use the Spellstone in order to gain a magical barrier, which just deflects, X amount of incoming magical damage. Now, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure why I'm including this. I just think it's such an awesome little mechanic. I'm tripping nostalgia balls right now. Maybe some of you guys are too. But yeah, Spellstones, definitely something to exploit and be aware of going into WoW Classic. Next up, we have something a little bit less tangible, and that's that Warlock gameplay back in Vanilla was, well, I mean, none of the classes back in Vanilla were anywhere near as polished and as refined as they are today. And that essentially means that if you're looking for a similar gameplay experience in Vanilla Warlocks as you're getting right now in something like BFA, then no, man, it's just not going to happen, right? The 3 trademark abilities, what I think of as the 3 trademark abilities for each of the Warlock specs, Shadow Fury for Destro, shut up, alright, it's a Destro spell, I don't care what anybody says, Unstable Affliction for Affliction Warlocks, and the Doom Guard for Demonology, they don't even exist in Vanilla, okay? Again, I've made some quick notes here so that I don't forget any details, but yeah, Incinerate is gone as well. The range on Drain Life is like melee range. It's fucking tiny. It's not quite melee range, but it's really, really small. And instead of having all of these smooth, refined abilities and nice, clean ways of controlling your enemies and stuff, Warlocks have spells like Life Tap, where you just sacrifice your health in order to gain mana. Obviously, most of you guys can remember Life Tap. Spells like Hellfire. You stand there, channel Hellfire, deal some AoE damage, while also killing yourself. That's the kind of fucking class Warlock was back in the day. Of course, Warlocks had multiple cases back in the day. When you summoned an Infernal, after a couple of minutes, you lost control of the sodding Infernal, and it would just start killing you, it would start killing your friendly teammates. The Infernal would just go on a goddamn rampage if you didn't enslave it again. And of course, this isn't even mentioning good old Curse of Doom. And what Curse of Doom did was deal like 3k damage at max level after a 1 minute debuff duration. And of course, if the target dies to the Bane of Doom damage, there's a chance that you summon a Doom Guard, which if you don't promptly enslave, will just kill you and your family and everyone you've ever known. So in a lot of ways, Vanilla Warlock feels a hell of a lot clumsier. You're kind of like a mage who doesn't really know what they're doing, and you're just as likely to get yourself killed with your own abilities as you are, to actually kill your enemy, to kill your intended target. And I sort of love that. It kind of gives you this sense of how much crazy bullshit that could backfire on you are you willing to throw at your enemy in order to bring them down with you. You know what I'm saying? And I love that shit. I feel like it adds a hell of a lot of charm to the class. That's what I'm going to go with. And before I move on to the last point, I know that this list is going to be different for everybody. There's going to be some people, oh, why didn't you mention that, Vanilla Warlocks are only invited to raids for their Curse of Elements and stuff, Yeah, look, there's all of these little details, but this is my list, goddammit. And like I said, I'm tripping nostalgia balls right now. But if you do feel like I've missed anything, just share it down below. So last on my list is, well, spells missing. Hit rating is Warlock's best friend back in Vanilla. For the simple reason that, that Affliction Talent Suppression? I believe that early Affliction Talent Suppression used to apply hit rating, like in TBC or something. In Vanilla, it doesn't do that. It reduces the percentage chance of your abilities being resisted. So basically, Warlocks just can't spec into hit rating, man. And that means that items like this, which are hopefully above me somewhere right now, are just extremely fucking good for Warlocks. So as you're leveling, prioritize that goddamn hit rating gear, as rare as it might be. But besides that, that is about gonna do it for my list. I'm really looking forward to WoW Classic coming about. If you want to see more videos like this one, not that I played many classes, I must warn you, way back in the day, but if you want to see more videos like this one, let me know down below. But for now, thanks for watching, guys. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch all of y'all just a tad bit later.